Instagram, iPhone Ultra, and Apple Pencil support for the iPhone. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is sponsored by RocketMoney. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide ensures only secure devices can access your cloud apps. It's zero trust, tailor-made for Okta. Book a demo today at kolide.com/MacVoices. This MacVoices live panel finishes off with a broad-ranging discussion that goes from Instagram to the iPhone Ultra, the rumored iPhone Ultra, to Apple Pencil support for the iPhone. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking. So I want to ask the chat room, we have some folks in there, which social media platforms are you on? And I'm not asking for handles if you don't want to give them, but more importantly, though, which ones do you favor? Because I've also heard a number of people, to my surprise, saying that Instagram is their primary social media network.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually.
Jeff, it does me only from the standpoint that you almost have to have a graphic or an image to go with whatever it is you want to post. So it doesn't feel like it fosters a lot of discussion like Twitter or Mastodon does or can.
Yes, but that's not what Instagram is. For a lot of people, Instagram is, I get to show this freeze frame from a moment in my life, and now we'll talk about it. But it's not like a discussion you would have on Twitter, on Mastodon, even on Facebook. But for some people, this is the way they like sharing and communicating.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. But again, to hear someone say that that's their primary when just, I guess, again, because of my own personal bias and the way that I use social media just seems very odd. I'm on Instagram, and that's fine. But now Brett says right now he's on Mastodon, and it's just at Mastodon and Instagram. So there you go. What do I know?
I think I figured out my problem, by the way, and it looks like it was Keynote, which has become, unfortunately, a problematic application for me. And it's an app that I'd like to leave open all the time. I used to on my old computer, but somehow on this computer, I get weird things like that, like where it interferes with Bluetooth, and it won't quit either. I have to force quit it like 3 times to get it to actually quit. It's very frustrating because Keynote is one of my favorite apps, but it misbehaves on this computer.
That's interesting. I haven't had that. Haven't had that issue. Yeah.
But I finally got it quit, and now because my mouse wasn't working, and I'm not using the AirPods, so I bet if I hooked them up, they'd probably work.
One other subject I wanted to get to tonight, and you know that we hate rumors, okay? But this one I think is just interesting. I'd like to get some reaction from everybody. And that is this talk of an iPhone Ultra. Does anybody want or need or have any strong feelings about an iPhone Ultra? Now, we don't know what it means, except that the big characteristic seems to be that it'll be super high priced.
Yeah. What are you gonna get for that high price? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah.
I like you say, rumors, but it seems like a really likely thing to me. I mean, on this last cycle, wasn't the best-selling phone the highest end? If I was Apple, I'd look at that and go, "Oh, we're leaving money on the table.
Go higher."
Yeah, go higher. And the high-end watch is doing well. Who would have, from all accounts? So yeah, I mean, if the high-end model is the best seller, I think that means your highest end model isn't high enough.
Wow, I didn't take that out of didn't take that lesson out of either one of those. It's just that the feature sets that people want are the ones that are in the high-end models, and they're willing to pay for it. Yeah. So,
right. But if they're willing to pay for that, then, we haven't tested how high people are willing to go, have we?
If I may.
Please, Webb.
Yeah, it's interesting. A fool and his money are soon parted. I'll start with that as a precursor. The phone that I have a 14 Pro Max. I got 512K of memory on it. It really, I got to be honest, has more capabilities than I need, but I kind of shifted to the higher end. So is there going to be an iPhone Ultra? Let's just say there is. Would I get it? Probably, just because I kind of like to be at that end of the spectrum, that early adopter spectrum, if you will. But I do wonder what's it going to have besides, if it's going to have all the capabilities of the next model lower and just has a fancy case on it. Nah, I don't think I'd do it, but we'll see. It's like somebody said just a minute ago, what I consider, it depends on what it does. I don't need a fancier camera. I don't need a nicer camera. The camera on this one is fabulous. So anyway, that's kind of my thinking on it. Yeah, maybe not.
Well, look, this is why I say we hate to discuss rumors because, okay, so they slap a higher price tag on it. What do you get for that higher price tag? There's been a lot of talk about a periscope lens being in the next version of the iPhone. Is it possible that would be one of the differentiations? And Jeff, why are you laughing?
There's no periscope lens coming to the iPhone.
Eric's demonstrating it right now.
I mean, okay, so
that's why it's got to be so much longer, and it's going to slide in and out and rotate.
And every time you pull it out, you go, "Arr, matey,
arr."
The components that you need to do the little telescope lens thing on an iPhone, it makes the phone thicker, and well, Apple has been fine giving us the bump. I don't think that they're fine making the bump into a tumor.
Huh. Okay.
When technology changes and those components can be miniaturized even more, sure, then maybe something like that would happen. But I see Apple doing the sort of thing that they're doing now, where or like a lot of companies are doing, where it's with the mirrors, and so you don't have to go thick; it can go wide, and then you're just using mirrors and creating essentially what you would get with that telescope piece. But
and the camera bump is about physics, so that's unlikely to change.
Mm-hmm.
So
so
the periscope
when
idea
Apple
would allow you to make a longer
lens,
lens,
but in the same bump that they have, that's when having a telescoping lens makes more sense. But when we get to that point, will the sensors and lenses we have available to us make a telescoping option a necessity? And my guess is that Apple will probably say, no, we can accomplish the same thing without putting this mechanical telescope piece in there. And then what does that do to water repellency?
Well, Jeff, now this is interesting because I hadn't heard any. Maybe I've missed it. I haven't seen anything about a telescoping lens. I've seen the periscope discussion.
Oh, the periscope lens.
Yeah.
Oh,
with the mirrors.
right?
I'm
so
sorry.
You can make a longer
totally
lens.
Thinking telescope, not pop-up periscope. I am sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was my fault.
I was thinking the same thing. The problem is no one sent ribs over to me, so I blame you.
Yeah, there's that.
There we go. The chat room has some interesting thoughts here. USB 3.0 speed on USB-C port and a 10x real optical zoom from Brad. Brett says, my guess is the iPhone Ultra will be an iPhone Pro Max with an M1 chip and a Thunderbolt port in lieu of USB-C.
Nice.
Brad also says if the Galaxy can do it, the iPhone can do a folded design. But we shall see. I'm just deeply skeptical of that.
Yeah.
Ben says, I'll take thicker. Johnny Ive is gone. And I think there's some truth to that, that for certain capabilities, maybe we would all be willing to take a little bit thicker iPhone if we could get some of the things we want.
Look at the current MacBook Pro. That is absolute proof that Johnny Ive has no control over what Apple's doing with design.
Oh yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Not even made out of aluminum anymore.
And I don't see chamfered edges.
I like
so. So do any of those things make a huge difference to any of us as users or consumers?
No, I think it's just a rumor. So, it seems imaginable to me. It seems quite likely that there are features that percolating in Apple Labs that they were like, no, this is too expensive. We can't put it in the phone. And so now maybe they're thinking, oh, well, they're probably, things that they were thinking, no one will pay for this. And then we're like, well, maybe somebody will pay for it. But, right now, this is just a rumor. It's all it is. But
Jim, I was talking more about what Jeff said about the chamfered edges and some of the design aesthetics that have gone by the wayside. I mean, was that a tragedy?
No, I don't think Jeff was saying it was. He's just saying it indicates that Johnny Ive is no longer putting his thumb and making those, thicker, non-chamfered devices possible.
Right. Right. And I don't see I don't think that's prevented anybody from buying a new MacBook.
No, I think, lots of people are happy about that. People think Johnny Ive went too far. Some people.
Yeah.
I think some of this is also what's Apple going to be doing in 4 more years. And so what things can be tested in the next couple of generations of phone as far as, technology bits. And then also, will the phone have to look different or have more power or something like that to support one of the other features? For instance, are you going to be able to have enough processing power in a pair of glasses to do whatever it is that they keep talking about in rumors, or does some of that processing have to happen on a secondary device?
By the way, wouldn't an M1 be a step down for the high-end phones from the processor that they have now?
The phones?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Isn't the processor in the 14 Pro higher generation than a more advanced generation?
I think it's A16.
Yeah, but I think it's a later silicon generation.
I understand your point. I don't know the answer to it, but I understand what you're trying to say, Jim.
So Jeff, I think, is looking something up while he is. Brad says...
I realized I don't have Mac Tracker installed so that I can double check the processors and everything in real time. So I'm making that happen right now, because why should I bother to be prepared for any show ever?
So Brad says Ultra could be somehow more durable beyond the frame, more satellite phone functionality, maybe reverse MagSafe charging, maybe adding Apple's Pencil support. God, I hope not. What, Jim?
Why do you say that?
Because I just feel like, we're going back to the days of the Palm Pilot if you start to address that.
Well, if they required a pencil, but maybe somebody would like to do drawings on their phone, and that's a portable thing that they can do plein air painting and without having to lug an iPad around.
I guess I just, well, I'm not an artist, so I can't say, but I would think that you would want a canvas or a workspace larger than not even the largest iPhone. And Jeff, maybe you'll disagree with me on that. I mean, an iPad mini at the least.
For me, when I'm creating art on my iPad, it's not because I don't have an option to do it on my iPhone. It's because I wouldn't want to do it on my iPhone. My screen is too small for what I would want to do. Yeah. Now, if there was an iPhone with the screen the size of an iPad mini, which to me seems ridiculous, maybe. But at the same time, even though I had the option to use drawing apps on an iPad mini, that was never appealing to me. And the idea of having an Apple Pencil and an iPhone, sticking the Apple Pencil to the side of an iPhone to charge. I mean, okay, I'm looking at an iPhone right now.
That's probably not going to work, but
I mean, the only place you could put it is across the top, and so you have this big things. Unless you do a
just charge it somewhere
pencil,
else.
But then, yeah,
I just think I'm not sure I understand. Chuck, you're saying it like that would be somehow hurt your iPhone experience if that was an option. I mean, you'd be free not to use it, but people, when the iPad came out with a camera, that was universally like, no one will use a camera on an iPad. Well, most people don't, but they do get used. I've seen them used a lot. And so, I can imagine that there would be, I mean, I probably wouldn't. I've got an iPad, I've got a pencil for my iPad and I never use it. But I don't instantly have a negative reaction to, why shouldn't a phone be able to use a pencil? There might be some cases where that would be of benefit.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by RocketMoney. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions today with RocketMoney at rocketmoney.com/MacVoices. Say goodbye to last year's outdated, disorganized methods of managing your money and say hello to RocketMoney, the better way to hack your finances in 2023. RocketMoney, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills, all in one place. RocketMoney makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of the button. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and RocketMoney will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Time is money. Money is money. RocketMoney helps you save both. Over 3 million people have used RocketMoney, saving the average person up to $720 per year. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/MacVoices. That's rocketmoney.com/MacVoices. rocketmoney.com/MacVoices. Thanks to RocketMoney for supporting MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide ensures only secure devices can access your cloud apps. Learn more at kolide.com/MacVoices. Our sponsor, Kolide, has some big news. If you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How? If a device isn't compliant, the user can't log into your cloud apps until they fix the problem. It's that simple. Kolide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, device compliance. Without Kolide, IT struggles to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date. Unsecured devices are logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Kolide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Kolide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user and gives them instructions to fix it. If they don't fix the problem within a set time, they're blocked. Kolide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. Visit kolide.com/MacVoices to learn more or book a demo. That's Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Kolide for supporting MacVoices.
All
Web
right,
As long as it's not required.
now that I bagged on it, I'm going to offer up if you have some sort of mobility issues, having a stylus you can use would actually be really useful on the iPhone. So here I'm saying I would never want that, but yeah, I can see use cases where that would actually be really valuable for someone.
Jeff, I would agree with that statement. I guess my reaction is it just feels like it dilutes the whole thing, and there's not that means there's not enough differentiation between devices. But I can't argue with the accessibility part.
Why does there need to be differentiation? I mean, there's already differentiation. It's a smaller device.
I guess, Jim, I just kind of resist the idea that everything has to be packed into every single device just because it feels like Microsoft Word, where just, okay, we have this capability and 3 people are going to use it, so we're going to put it in that menu bar or that ribbon, and you end up with just such a cluttered disaster. I mean, already there's so many settings in in iOS or even in macOS that you have to go and hunt for things to try to figure out how to turn something on and off. And I realize that pencil control would be minimal. There would be just a couple more settings to add, but that's always the thing. It's just a couple more settings, and we can add this and that.
So, sounds like you'd like them to remove pencil support from the iPad?
No, absolutely not. Well, I mean, it's there.
Then I don't. So there's
it's there now.
Setting hidden away. That's not going to affect my use of the phone at all.
No, you're not wrong. And I saw Webb measuring his pencil versus his phone. What was your conclusion, Webb?
You muted.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did that because the phone was ringing. The phone, the 14 Pro Max, the pencil's just a little bit longer than the pencil by the tip. I don't know.
I think I can agree that it might be a minus if the phone could charge the pencil. That could possibly, be a negative, added weight or whatever. But assuming you charged it some other way.
And for me, if I were going to succumb and have an Apple Pencil on my phone or with my phone, if I couldn't charge it from the phone, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah,
because this is the most mobile device I have, and I wouldn't want my Apple Pencil to be just as mobile.
Well, maybe it could MagSafe charge.
Oh, that's what I'm assuming. Like stick it on the back and MagSafe charge, because the sides, they're already taken up with ports and controls. So stick it on the back and it MagSafe charges on the back of your phone.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. That I put in the Slack earlier. This kind of fits in perfectly. Did you guys see that Apple came out with a firmware update for one of the chargers, MagSafe chargers?
Yeah, I saw
the Duo. Yeah,
and that just blows me away. That first of all, there's firmware in the charger, and second of all, somehow, so what is happening? The phone is also, there's a magnet and it takes power, but apparently it can also communicate and send code to this device. How on earth does an update get from the phone into the charger? That's fascinating to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too geeky, but it's
that's a really good question. How is it getting there?
Yeah, it is, Jim, and it also makes you wonder if what was it, AirPower? Right. that Apple never did, either didn't release or wasn't able to release. If they were trying to build that much into it, or are they doing what they did with the HomePods, and they have extra sensors or extra capabilities in there that need to be turned on in some fashion, or could be turned on at a future date, like charging your pencil. That will work.
So, and I think I think the article said that there was an update for this thing a while ago. And so again, apparently there's a processor in here. I guess maybe there is.
But I thought for that one you had to plug it into a computer.
I think so.
Who's ever going to do that? First of all, and the thing today, I don't know. The article I saw just said that the phone applied the update to the charger. So, I guess maybe they do communicate because maybe they're talking to each other. Like maybe the phone's telling it how much charge it needs or something. Does it do? I don't know. But wow, layers of technology there. My chargers are talking to my phone behind my back. And also thinking about, all the Internet of Things out there that never, like have security vulnerabilities and then never get updated and have no way of being updated. And this is pretty clever of Apple to have this Internet thing that you wouldn't think has a way to be updated, and yet it does. Think of like all the cameras out there and, stuff like that, determine they have vulnerabilities and they can't be updated.
Well, yeah, but not just that, Jim, but it's escaping me right now which camera it was, but there's one that they tried to end of life or did end of life, and there was such an uproar over it because it wasn't that old. And so,
what camera was that?
It wasn't a Eufy, was it? Or was it an Arlo?
I don't remember.
There was a thing about Eufys, but I think that was a vulnerability.
That was a vulnerability. But I guess where I'm going with this is that this may be Apple's way of making sure that they, at least for a while, can keep things updated, whatever updates need to be done to something like this.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. In fact, I think it's fantastic. And, it's not something that they really promoted. I never even knew about it. It's just, another little small way that Apple's, thinking ahead. Like, we might need to have an update for this charger 3 years from now.
Brad says the AC adapter does handshake with the device to agree on voltages and amperage, which obviously makes sense.
Handshake with
the device, the adapter.
The device, I think, but that means the device has got to be handshaking with the phone. I mean, USB definitely has handshake. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe all the time when you plug this into because this has got USB-C, so maybe the charger is talking through the magnetic connection to the phone all the time.
Behind your back.
Yeah.
Or beside you.
Or in front of me.
On the nightstand.
At night when you're asleep, they're plotting against you, Jim.
I don't
life.
I don't charge my phone at night. I charge it while I'm at my desk. And at night I don't charge it, which confuses their algorithms no end.
Probably.
No question about it. Especially my watch, it won't it doesn't want to, I want to sleep with it on, so I charge it in the evening, and it doesn't tend to fully charge because I think it's thinking, I'm not going to fully charge it until 6 a.m. before you get up. But
you'd think Apple would have thought noticed that through, since they tout it as a sleep tracking device.
I would think so, but I think wrong.
The only thing I wear mine all night and just charge it when I get in the shower in the morning, and by the time I get out, it's fully charged.
Either you take longer showers than I do, or you probably have a more recent phone. Watch. I've got a Series 4, so I think the battery's not as.
Oh yeah,
stout. Yeah,
that'll do it. Guys, we're pretty much at time. We've been all over the place, but this has been fun. So let's go around the room, find out where folks can find you on which social media service, and that should take at least another half hour. We'll get out of here. So I'm going to flip it around and start with Eric. Eric, I think you revealed that you were on Mastodon. Are you anywhere else that you want to be contacted?
Mastodon is the most interesting right now. So EA Bolden at techhub.social. And since I'm playing with lots of different clients, I'm there a lot.
Great. Thank you, Eric. Jeff Gamet, I know you're usually everywhere, but what is your preferred platform at the moment?
The two platforms that I'm most active on right now, Mastodon first, and then Instagram, and I'm Jay Gamet on all the social medias. So wherever you go to find me, that's what you need to look for.
Okay. Anything else that you want to promote?
Podcasts, right? That's a thing. Here on Tuesdays with you, and then Thursdays on the Big Show. And then Thursday evenings on Dave's show, In Touch with iOS. And then Fridays on the Mac show. And then also on the Context Machine, because Brian Chaffin and I clearly can't get enough of each other.
I want to leave that alone. Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you. Bring ribs next time.
To hang out with.
Jim Ray, sorry we had to take you back to a wired connection, but I'm glad that you were able to participate and fix it. Where can folks connect with you?
I probably needed to be shut up. You can find me on the web at provue.com, PROVUE. And you can find me on Mastodon at provuejim at techhub.social. And also for the handful of people watching live, on Thursday, I'm going to do a presentation at Boston Cocoaheads, which is going to be an online thing. You can find it on Meetup. It's at 7 p.m. Central.
What's the presentation about?
I'm going to talk about how the help system for Panorama was created.
Okay.
Sounds really interesting, actually.
Yeah,
I think it is going to be a good presentation.
Is it a programming thing, Jim, or is it a service that you used, or a little bit of both?
It's a programming thing.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to have you give the presentation here, but okay. Yeah, that does sound.
No, it's not. It's Cocoaheads is a programming group.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to be assembly language or anything, but it's probably not a MacVoices thing either. But probably most of you here would get something out of it if you're interested.
Thank you. Yeah, well, if you have a link to it, throw it in the chat room, or throw it in ours, and I'll put it over into the YouTube chat room. That way, anybody that wants to partake, because this probably won't be released before then.
Right.
Yeah. Webb Bixby, my brother in ribs.
Yeah, you can find me at ribs at barbecue.social. So,
yeah.
No, starting this week, you can reach me at Webb Bixby at twit.social. So good to be here, Chuck. Thank you.
Thank you, Webb, for everything. Last but absolutely not least, sitting up there looking out over the vast assortment of participants here, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, where can folks find you as if we didn't know? Oh, you're still muted, David.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com, YouTube channel youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm on the Mac Show on Fridays on the British Tech Network, and I am on Mastodon at mastodon.cloud, DaveG65. I'm on Twitter too, DaveG65, and In Touch with iOS.
Great. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Folks, this is Mac Voices Live. As you know, we do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. If you're awake and would like to join us, it's youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We would love to have you. And if not, if you really need to be asleep at that hour because of your geographic location or you're just distracted by something else, these shows eventually get cut up and end up in the Mac Voices feed. So you get the benefit of all this wisdom and also get to be tempted by the ribs. Until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. Thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.